Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Pain Point webinar series. My name is Josh Lockheed, and I'm the training evangelist here at QuoteWerks. And our goal with this webinar series is to dive into common business challenges that businesses face when creating quotes and proposals. And today's pain point topic is struggling to standardize your sales reps' quotes and proposals. We know that your time is valuable, so we keep these webinars fairly short, typically under 30 minutes. We want you to be able to apply these solutions right away. We want these webinars to be as quick and easy as your quoting process is, or potentially will be if you've yet to start using QuoteWerks. As with any of our webinars, we go over a quick agenda here of what we'll be covering today, and the agenda will be to review the pain point itself, then dive into the solution for those pain points. Then we'll have a quick live demo as well, and Q&A is a big part of that as well. So with that being said, we are in GoToWebinar here. There is a questions box in the GoToWebinar meeting, so if anyone throughout the course of this webinar has any questions, I welcome you to enter your questions in that question box, and I'll try to get to them if I can. If I'm not able to get to them, feel free to email me at community@quoteworks.com. I'd be happy to follow up with you with any questions that you may have there. And then additionally, these webinars are recorded, so you'll receive an email within 24 to 48 hours with a link to the recording. Feel free to review that or share it with anyone that may not have been able to join us today. And it also lends to mention that this video does get posted both to our YouTube page as well as our website. Both are really great resources for obtaining information, new webinars that we're putting out, different training videos, so on and so forth. So definitely would welcome you to go and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get all of the up-to-date information. And also, not to mention, we also have our Facebook, LinkedIn, and other social media accounts as well, where we'd love to have you follow us there as well. So in today's webinar, as I've mentioned, we're covering the struggling to standardize your sales reps, quotes, and proposals pain point. A lot of people have purchased QuoteWerks because they wanted to make sure that their quoting process was scalable. And how do you make a process scalable? It's through standardization. So some of the pain points that we can see as it relates to standardizing quotes is that the quotes just don't look professional. It might be that the quotes that are coming from different sales reps are looking different. They don't have the same look and feel. It's possible that sales reps are forgetting to add important information. Sales reps could also try and change potentially the format or the layout of the quote that you're sending. And those solutions out there are just not scalable. So here at QuoteWerks, there's a number of things that we can do to help alleviate some of those pain points. One we're going to talk about today is going to be the deliver window, and this is where you can create the output of what your quote or proposal will look like. You can set many different controls so important information for the quote doesn't get missed, and we're going to actually demo some of that in our live demo today. So you can start with templates. So the document is already laid out how you would like them. You can also make sure your sales reps can't change the look of the security layout through security settings. And you can also link documents to specific products or services so you don't forget to add them manually. So there's a lot of different things that can be done via the deliver window and utilizing templates. And we're going to, as I've mentioned, dive into those today. So that was a very quick introduction, and we're going to hop into that live demo that I discussed. So let me go ahead and get my QuoteWerks environment up. And here we are. So we are in a blank quote. As you can see, there's nothing that's been populated. We don't have any products. We don't have any users or sold to, shipped to users. What I'm going to do here first is I'm going to go ahead and start to build a template. And the way I'm going to do that is just by inserting some section headers. So go ahead and insert a section header. I'm going to have one for products, and I'm going to put one for services as well. Now, templates are a great thing to use if you're going to be creating quotes with similar formats, similar products, or just similar settings over and over again. And what templates allow you to do is to take those different settings and create that as a starting point for any future quotes. So for example, if we wanted, we could make it so that someone comes and opens this template, they just have products and services. And what they would do is make sure that they're always including those headings in their quotes. Additionally, if you wanted to, you could actually build out an entire quote with all of your products and services, and then go through and adjust the quantities, and then use our multi select tool here to go ahead and remove 0 quantities. So the use of templates is wide ranging, but today we're going to kind of narrow in on some of the more the bare bones use of it, if you will, right? So creating section headers, creating some default payments, and going from there. So before we get into the actual creation of the template, what I want to do is actually hop over to the deliver window here, as this is what we're going to be talking about. And the deliver window is where you essentially put all of the different components of what your printed output of your quote is going to be to your customer. So we have a number of different components that make up that output. We've got the cover page. Cover page would be just an opening page of your quote, and you can come in here and select which cover page you might want to use. The layout is going to be where the information from the quote workbook is printed, so your items, your sold to, shipped to information, really anything that's included again in the document workbook. We have our literature here. Those are going to be things that you can use that are actually being pulled from a folder in the QuoteWerks system. We also have the ability to include spec sheets. So if you're pulling in products from Eatalize, or if you have products in your local database and have a spec sheet associated with them, those will pull in right here. And then we also have the links tab, and the links tab is going to actually pull in any information that you associate with the quote over in the links tab on the document workbook. So all of those are different components that can be added to create your output of the quote. And this is where we're going to be spending some of our time today during the demo, talking about how each of these different sections work and how they come together for you to be able to create that print output. So we're going to head back over to our template here. Again, we've got our products heading, we've got our services heading. What I did also want to do is just show you how, if you wanted to, you could create other things to be saved within this template. So if you wanted this template to be for a specific customer, you can go in and add customer information here. You can also add sale info information. You could select payment option, and really just template out all of these different things in here for yourself. Terms, FOB, all of this information on any of these tabs here is going to be saved with the template in addition to what you have here on the document items tab. So it's a great way, again, to have a starting point for quote where you don't actually have to go back and do a lot of the, let's say, clerical stuff like adding headings or selecting the payment method, so on and so forth. All right, so we're gonna head back to the deliver window, and I actually just realized that I am logged in as a user who does not actually have access to select literature, and that's one of the things that I'm going to show you in a little bit is how you can control that. But so that I'm able to show you how we can do that, I'm going to log in as a different user, so bear with me here for a moment. We're going to log in as the administrator who has master rights. And we're going to go back to that other user in just a few minutes to demonstrate a couple things. All right. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and redo the section headers here. Products, services. And again, we want to save with this our payment method as well. I'm just going to delete this blank line, and we'll go over and update our payment method. All right. So now we're going to go back to the deliver window here. And we're going to put together our layout here. So we're going to put a cover page in there, which we actually already have one in there. So we're going to remove that first. We'll go in here and we'll select cover page. We'll go into our layouts. We'll select the layout. As mentioned, we could potentially select others if we wanted to as well. And it looks like I have layout security on here. based on all the red that you see. That means that certain ones of these are locked down to only be used by certain users. And it looks like I need to go in and disable that quickly. So bear with me again for one quick moment. What I'm doing here is I'm going to the security settings and I'm just disabling individual resource security, which is what locks down which of those layouts an individual can actually use. Not something that I really was going to cover today, but at least now you can see very quickly how you might do that. So we've got our cover page. Let's say we wanted to add another layout in there. We could certainly do that. If we wanted, we can even add an additional layout. We can add some literature. So let's say our support agreement and a sample about our company. Let's say we want to put the about our company first and the support agreement after. That looks good there. And we'll go ahead and preview this. Now, just know that if you are putting together a template and you want to predefine what's included in this print, share, publish, deliver document window, you need to make sure that you at least preview the document because that's what's going to make sure that it's saved into the template as your pre-saved settings. And as you can see here, this is the output that we've created. We've got our cover page, we've got our about us, we've got our quote templates with our headings in there, and then we've got our about our support agreement here as well. So all that looks good. We're now going to actually save this as a template. And the way that you save a quote as a template is you go to File and then Save as Template. We'll just give this a name. Let's call this a section headers template. Now, you are also able to save mobile templates as well as quote validate order forms. We do have some additional trainings on what those are, so feel free to review those. But for today, we're just creating a normal template, so we'll just keep those blank and hit OK. Now, one thing you'll notice is there's a couple things that have changed. First, up top, you'll see that we have a T as our center letter here, JBLT 1037. That T indicates a template, as does the note here about it being a template. And then over on the right hand, you'll see that our quote went from quote to quote template. So anytime you're actually in a template, editing that template, you're going to see quote template instead of quote. Now that being said, if you wanted to open a new template, all you would need to do is to go up to New and then select Template and then select the template that you want to use. So you'll see our section headers template is right here. Now, I just want to point out that what you don't want to do is to go to Open. Now, this is if you're actually using a template to deliver a quote to a customer. You do not want to go to Open in Templates. This is actually going in to edit the template itself rather than creating a quote from a template. So just a quick differentiation there. If you want to create a quote from a template, you want to go to New, select Template, or File, New, and then it'll give you the option to select Template, not Open, because Open will open the template itself. Okay. So if we go back to the Deliver window in our quote template, you'll see that we have our predefined options here. And if you were to go over to the Sale Info tab, you'd see that our credit card purchase option is also selected here as well. So that would be how you create and use a template. Now, one other great option that we have is if you want to, let's say, every time a sales rep opens QuoteWerks and they go to create a new document, that it defaults to a particular template. You can certainly do that. The way you would do that is by going to Tools, My Preferences. We're going to go to MISC, and then General More. And then here, there's a couple different settings. Two settings that I'll point out that I think are worthwhile. One is document search results. So when you're in the document open window, you can have a default view, which is really useful. But what we wanted to talk about today is this new document default. So by default, anytime this user, the administrator user, goes to create a new document, it's going to open up a blank quote. Now, alternatively, if you wanted to, say, use this section headers template as your starting point for every quote for this user, all you would need to do is come over here to the new document default and then search for the template that you want to use. They're all going to be listed here, and then you would select that template. So pretty cool way to get things done. And again, a great way for you to start with a new quote. So let's actually just test this. Again, I've set it so that section headers is going to be my default new document. Go ahead and X out of this here. So if we were to go to new, instead of opening a brand new blank quote, it now opens with my headings, and it is a representation of the template that we're starting a new quote from. So again, you see our headings. You'll also see that the credit card purchase was set, and anything else that we would have saved as the template would be in here as well. All right, so we've gone through a number of different things. What I also wanted to show here is, and I'm actually just going to kind of start from a new quote here. If we want to set our literature default, so again, over here in the deliver window, we have literature that's available to us. If we wanted by default there to be a particular piece of literature that's included on every quote, we can set that. And that's done by going to Tools, then Options, and then the Print tab. And you'll see right here we have literature defaults. So if we go to Quote Literature, you can see that each of these are available to us. These are files that are stored in the literature folder in the QuoteWerks file path. And what we could do if we wanted is we could click any one of these or all of them to include them as the default literature in our quotes. So I'm just going to choose sample about our company and hit OK, and hit OK. Now any new quote that I would create, again, it's starting from my template here. Any new quote that I would create, regardless of whether it's created from template or not, would have that about us or agreement included here. Now, it's not showing because, or it is showing, but it's not showing what I'm talking about because we opened a template. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually turn off that setting that we just set. Bear with me for one moment. We're going to go to Tools, My Preferences, and we're just going to change it back to open a normal quote. So MISC, General More. Again, we have it set so that it automatically opens the section headers template, but I want it to be a blank quote. So we're going to do that. We'll go ahead and X out of all of our open documents here, and we will come over, and when we hit new, you'll see that now it does not give us the template. However, if we do go to our deliver window, you can see that our defaults have been set here. So pretty cool stuff. All right, I am now going to add some products to our document. So we're going to go up to products, and I'm just going to add some different products here. I'm going to add a switch. I'm going to add some cabling, a warranty, and some labor. And we're just going to go through the add item assistant here, adding them to our document. All right. So let's now go over back to the deliver window. And one of the things I want to show you is we have a setting in here right now that is automatically going to take any spec sheets associated with our products and include it in our output. So this catalyst switch that we added in there has a spec sheet that's associated with it. And you can see that it, not only is that spec sheet included in our spec sheets tab, but based on our default settings, it automatically included it with the print output as well. And we'll actually show you how to do that in just a minute. Now, if we wanted to actually set a spec sheet, I'll show you how to do that here. You would actually go to the product catalog. You'd find the product that you want to have a spec sheet for. You'd hit edit. And under the advanced page is where the spec sheet option comes. So if you wanted to associate a spec sheet with an existing product, just go select the product, edit it, open the advanced tab, and then browse for it in your system. That being said, you're going to want to include it in the QuoteWerks folder just for easy navigation and so that QuoteWerks is able to find it when it needs it. But so long as you do that, everything would be good, and that spec sheet will be included with this particular product. Go ahead and just take a look at the preview with that spec sheet associated with it. The one that we have there is just a sample spec sheet, but you can get the idea, right? If we wanted to, our spec sheet would just be included here along with the rest of our documentation. So the way that you would make spec sheets included by default is you're going to go to Tools, My Preferences, MISC, and this time we're going to Printing. And there is this box, Select All Spec Sheets for Print on Initial Print. So that's what you would want to set if you were wanting to have that spec sheet included by default. All right. So those are all great things to understand. Now, as I mentioned, you're going to want to include the literature in the literature folder because that's what we're looking at when we're trying to pull information into the literature tab. And there's actually a number of different folders that you want to be familiar with that are basically underlying to the QuoteWerks system. And an easy way to get to those is to go to Help and About. And then if you go to System, there's an install path here. And if you click on the install path, it actually opens up for you the QuoteWerks folder or the folder where QuoteWerks is currently installed. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this because here we have, like I mentioned, our literature folder. So this is where those 3 documents that are presented to us come from. We also have our specs folder here. So this would be where our spec sheets can be housed. We also have our covers for our cover sheets, images for our images. All in all, this is the folder path that you're going to want to save these different resources into in order to use them within the QuoteWerks system. So if you want to load spec sheets, add them to the specs folder. If you want to add literature, add it to the literature folder. Covers, pages, add them to the covers folder. Pretty straightforward. Now, one of the other things to mention is that we do have the ability to set different access rights as it relates to who can change what's included in the deliver window here. And the way that we can do that is by going to Utilities and User Maintenance and selecting the user that we want to lock down or edit the settings for. In this case, we're going to edit Josh's settings. We're going to hit Edit. And we're going to go over to the Access tab. Now, the Access tab is great because this is where you can go and toggle on or off the ability for users to do different things. Now, in the purposes of this demonstration, we might want to make it so that a user can't print layouts, modify print layouts, delete print layouts, use order print layouts, or we might want them to, for example, not be able to adjust literature. So cannot maintain literature, cannot add literature, cannot modify, delete. These are all different options that we can use to lock down the security settings for the user. And you can see there's even spec sheets in here as well. Cannot modify spec sheets. So we're going to actually set these settings for the Josh user, and we're going to log in as Josh to show you how those settings are actually applied. All right, so like I said, we're going to log in as Josh. Just Give me a moment here. It's yelling at me because I'm logged in somewhere else, so bear with me. All right, so that was able to work. So I just wanted to show you that with those security settings on, if the user Josh wanted to go in here and let's say edit a layout, we locked that down so they're not able to edit layouts. We also made it that they're not able to select literature. However, our default is to include one of them, so it's actually already included here, right? So you can see the granularity of what you're able to do here. Spec sheets as well, we give them the cannot modify, so if there were spec sheets, they wouldn't be able to modify them, and neither can they come in here and really do anything with the layouts. So that's just another way that you can lock down access for individuals in the QuoteWerks system so that they can't do certain things. All right. So with that being said, that rounds out what I wanted to demo for you here today. I wonder if there's any questions that come in. I don't believe that I've seen any questions. Feel free to type your questions into the questions box if you do have any. If there's anything else that you'd like me to demo that I haven't already, feel free to put that in there as well. I'll give you a minute or two here to see if anything comes in. In the meantime, I just want to talk about some of the resources that we have available to you. QuoteWerks website is a great source of resource for you in that it holds a lot of the stuff that I'm referring to here. Our help files, for example, our videos, our live and recorded webinars, as well as a number of other useful things like our forums. There's also a tips and tricks email that we send out on a monthly basis that highlights a different feature within the QuoteWerks product. If you'd like to be included in that, there's an email, or not an email, excuse me, there's a website that you can go to, and I'll put that in the chat here. It's just quoteworks.com/tips and tricks. So I'm going to put that in the chat here for anyone that might be interested. And as I always say, one of the greatest resources that we have here at QuoteWerks are our people. So if at any point you do want to engage, maybe ask a question, learn a little bit more about something that we covered, whether it's involved with this webinar or anything else, our support and sales teams are always ready to help. And if you have any questions that come up after this, feel free to email me directly at community@quoteworks.com. I haven't seen any questions come in, and we're right about at the half of the hour. So I am going to go ahead and end the webinar. But I want to first thank everyone for their time and hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.